and welcome to another 10 Point Podcast weekly news roundup. This will be a quick, short episode because Chris is holding his camera with his hands.
I'm getting smart.
So let's go dive straight into it. This is the best movie, TV show, podcast around. Get all your news from us. But before we get into some important news, we'll do a quick roundup of what we've been watching, what we recommend this year. Well, this week.
This week, yeah.
So I'll start because once again I dodged going to the cinema because
Oh, really?
I can't be arsed going to watch Bullet Train, and nope, did not excite me yet. But I still want to go and see it. So hopefully one of you guys have seen it. Bruce is rubbing his hands, so stay tuned for that.
I'm excited.
However, I did, and I mean no word of a lie, see the best film. Well, the best vampire film I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
I'm glad you watched this because I didn't watch it, so I'm glad
Right.
you saw it.
So I watched the Netflix Day Shift, starring Jamie Foxx and Dave Franco. What a film! Like, honest to God, I was sitting there 10 minutes in going, this is better than Blade.
Oh, really?
Like, it can't be better than Blade. And then about 20 minutes in, I was like, this is better than the entire Blade franchise.
Oh, okay.
And I was like,
that is
This
some
is-
high praise.
yeah.
and then in about 30 minutes, and I was like, yeah, this is the best. Like, this is all vampire films should be this format.
Okay.
I can't say his praise is high enough. What a film!
Okay.
Literally came out of nowhere, and I mean, it's got Snoop Dogg in it,
I saw that. Yeah.
It's
Ah,
just-
okay.
which just elevates it even more. And like,
Extra point. Right there.
there's something about this film. Normally, you get a character that's just like, oh my god, he's like too much. Like any kind of thing that Dave Franco's in, usually too much, or any of the Francos, they're always too much. He's just perfect in this. Jamie Foxx plays it bang on. Any other character they bring in, Snoop Dogg and like the bad guys and the vampires, they're all like perfect for this film.
Okay.
Like, honest to God, if we reviewed this would be like, I would up there with like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Right,
so-
okay. I'll definitely give it a look then.
This has
because I
got
was
a
kind of
proper
like,
Andy seal of approval.
yeah.
Like,
I
I
was
was like, you guys are now going to hate it because I've sung his praises, but I literally was like, fuck it, I'll put it on. I was just like, this is good. So yeah, go watch that because that's pretty much the only movie I've seen. I think we could all, maybe except from Chris because he's been having technical issues, we could talk about She-Hulk. That's
Yeah.
out.
yeah, I watched it.
Oh,
this
I haven't
afternoon.
seen that. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it after this.
So I think we'll do a spoiler non-thingy because
Yeah.
people have not seen it. However, at least it does answer that one question we all had about Steve Rogers.
Yeah, there is one of the most unanswered questions in the whole history of the
Oh,
MCU. is
I
answered.
saw that pop up on Facebook. I didn't
Yeah.
go into it, so I know
Which-
what you mean.
Yeah.
It's probably the best running gag in the show so far. There's bits and pieces that keep coming up, but
Well, I'll tell you what, for a Marvel show, it does the fourth wall, and it fourth walls really well because it makes it move extremely fast, and I don't need all the bullshit backstory.
and
like-
she wasn't annoying either. I thought
Yeah,
sometimes when the person talks to the camera, I bet you're like, oh, jeez, you're not. I'm not quite on your level here. You're not asking me the questions that I want you to ask me and all that sort of stuff. But she was not perfectly amount of involving us in the show and not being too kind of like eye rolling about it. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that aspect.
yeah. I can't hear Chris now.
That's
He's
what
muted
Chris is
himself,
talking.
so yeah.
about.
So we'll carry on while Chris fixes his more technical difficulties.
Well, he hasn't seen She-Hulk, so he can't really comment on it.
Exactly, so that's
It's,
fine.
again, another good first episode from a Marvel show. They
I
do,
just hope it doesn't tail away.
yeah, like Miss Marvel, which I sang the praises of really highly for episode 1, slightly less high for episode 2, and they just
It just got
No,
shitter and
no.
shitter and shitter.
But this one, yeah, from what I have heard from those who have seen the whole thing, is that it now becomes its own show, and it's very self-referential and MCU referential, and it's a kind of fun show to watch. And I feel like,
Yeah.
and now again, this might be another step towards, I don't know, the MCU getting better again. I feel like they're going
Hopefully.
to start building things, and yeah,
I need some films and some more story, not just TV show fillers. I want to actually fill the story up now.
yeah.
Right,
Well,
so-
I'll go into what I've seen this week if you want, unless we're
Go
waiting-
on.
if Chris.
Oh, actually, I want to give another shout out. I still can't hear him.
I'll get you.
I want to give another shout out to a show that I talked about last week because I've now finished, which is The Sandman.
Okay, I haven't quite started it yet, but it's very much on my to-do list.
Absolutely finished it, nailed it, really enjoyed it. I still have no idea what's going on in that show.
Right, okay, it's one of those ones.
Like literally, it's got about 4 storylines in one season. It's got 10 episodes, and there's about 4 different storylines. And when you're getting bored of one, it's like, oh, this is really shit. They just end it. It's like, you've got like another 7 episodes to go. What's going to happen here? And yeah, it just keeps carrying on. So, blew my mind.
I'm very much enjoying the drama we've got.
I know. For the YouTube watchers, you're going to be loving the panic on Chris's face here. It's brilliant.
For those who can only hear us, oh, I can hear him in the background.
It's got to
We're
go
old
straight
school.
to my phone now. I hate
Right, okay.
There we go. We're old school.
This is the worst day ever.
Right. Anyway, so yeah, Sandman definitely watched that. She-Hulk watched that. What have you been watching, Bruce?
So I went to the cinema. I did the double bill that we mentioned last week.
I was going to do it, but I can be arsed. Convince me.
I found the absolute most perfect timings. Like the first film, I watched Bullet Train at 11:40, and it came out 10 minutes before the start of Nope, and it was 2 doors down in the cinema. I had to go back to the ticket taker to say, "Can you scan my ticket for my next film?" and go back in again, just to prove a point that I wasn't going to. I didn't want my seat to get taken away in something else because Nope was actually quite busy. Bullet Train wasn't so busy, but there's still a few people there. But yeah, Bullet Train. The advert, the trailers that we were seriously worrying were showing all the film. They show you the film, but you don't get an idea what the film was about from it. Like, we know it's assassins, we know that it's one of these sort of capers where everybody's after the same sort of thing. But the actual film itself is a lot more than what it looks like in the train, and it is about maybe about 10 people that are all on the train. It is about who they are and who's working for who and who's with who and who has the thing, the MacGuffin as they call it, the thing that it's all that they're all chasing on it. But it's very, very, very good. It's not quite top tier. It's not as good as it could have been, but it's very good. The first half of it, for me, however, was hurt because I have to be in a room with other people again. And this is always the downfall of going to the cinema, is that you get psychopaths in the cinema with you. And I had one of the scariest psychopaths who I never felt threatened by. Like, I never thought, this psycho is going to come and jump me here. But it was a guy. So we sat on the back row, and then 2 inconsiderate people sat where we normally would sit. So we had to move a bit further along when we bought our tickets. So sitting in our seat on the back row, about a second before like it goes dark for the film to start, guy comes up, and the first red flag was going along in front of us to his seat, but not stopping. No, when you're squeezing past, you stop to let people move their knees like an inch, and then you can get past. Like it's a kind of courtesy. Just walk straight by. So I couldn't even get out the way. He was already past me, and then sits in the very back corner. So that when you come in the cinema, the furthest away seat, and already I'm like, oh god, here we go. One of these sort of people. I thought maybe he's just a loner and wants to sit up there. Very early on, this isn't a spoiler, in the film Bullet Train, there's a suicide shown on the film. Now, a character, a minor character, in part of a Michael Pena style kind of thing.
Like, if this guy tops himself in this story, Bruce, I'm gonna be well impressed.
There's a suicide. A guy jumps off of a building, and this guy jumps off the building, and out of nowhere, the guy in the corner just starts going like I mean, the loudest I've ever heard somebody laugh in a cinema was this guy, and then this guy crashes on his suicide, and then he's not quite dead yet. And when it's revealed he's not quite dead yet, I get another really, really loudly. And at this point, I'm like, okay, this guy's here. And then for the first half of the film, anytime something funny happened on screen, this guy would go. But then when something violent happened, he would start going, really, really start laughing loudly again. And I'm like, I am proper terrified of what this guy, like, at any point he could just start shit. And at one point, there was a funny bit happening, and he came so close to just shouting out something. He was like, oh, yeah. And then he just just started laughing again. I think at that point, if he'd started shouting something, I would have actually been like, can you please stop talking? But then halfway through the film, he kind of tired himself out. He couldn't laugh at all the killings and all the murder and the violence anymore. But every so often, you still hear when Brad Pitt was doing something funny in it. So that ruined the first half of the film, because after about 10 minutes, I'm like, I'm waiting for him to make a noise anytime something happens. And then it was quiet. But after that, the film was really good. You've not seen it, Andy.
Nope.
There is a, let's say, 5-second bit of the film that you will absolutely love. And if you don't go to see the film, you'll kick yourself for not seeing this 5-second bit. I won't say any more than that. But it's much better than it could have been, but not quite as good as it could have been. Like it's potential to be really, really good. But yeah, don't let the trailer put you off. It's a lot more than just this kind of hilarious.
It's mostly the nuclear heat and the Noah's Ark rain that's been putting me off to go into cinema, in all fairness. So I can't actually win.
The biggest question I have though is is it Brian Tyree Henry? I think that's what you call him. He's part of the comedy duo basically in the film with Aaron Taylor Johnson. Aaron Taylor Johnson does a very good Cockney accent. Brian Tyree Henry does not do a very good Cockney accent, to the point where I was wondering if he was American. Like, is he actually playing it American or not halfway through the film? But he's a bit iffy. But yeah, I recommend it. I probably not worth getting Noah's Ark to go see it. But Nope, I followed Nope up straight away afterwards. Nobody ruining that film for me. A lot busier, but a lot less quiet. Highly recommend. Highly recommend it. I intentionally went into it not seeking what it was about, like accidentally from trailers, kind of finding out, okay, it's kind of like that, but I didn't want to know anything that happened in the film. And like you mentioned, the wacky waving inflatable arm filling tube men being in it and all, they're in like one scene of it. So again, that's another good sign that the trailer's not giving much of the film away. Not a major groundbreaking twist in it, but it went a different direction of what I thought it was going to go with the reveal. But yeah, it's definitely worth the time. Nope, it's a good big screen one because the whole thing's out in the middle of nowhere in Nevada, I think it is. Certainly. Oh,
we love a scenery.
It's California, so yeah, it's scenery, all basically based around a horse farm. But Nope, I highly recommend Nope. Probably see it before Bullet Train. Bullet Train's a lot more kind of fun. Breakneck pace. So that's what I saw this week, and it was a very good old bill, and that was the right way around. I think seeing Bullet Train first, I would have missed the Crazy Person if I'd gone to it later, but seeing it first, right. Was definitely better.
Chris, give us something before you have more technical glitches. What have you watched?
Well, locally we had a picnic at the park thing. So after that there was a film called Sing 2, which we watched with the girls, and it is utter shit. Don't go and watch it.
I love Sing 1 though. Sing 1 was a banger.
I don't know, but what else did I watch? Oh, I finished The Last Man on Earth, and it gets cancelled, so there's no ending. And they've left it a cliffhanger. And
I'm out.
What happens?
I hate when this shit happens.
It was based on a book or something, wasn't it? Or a series of books.
Yeah.
So you can't find out what happened, luckily.
But it infuriated me because it literally ends on a cliffhanger and that's it. So it infuriated me.
I feel like they shouldn't be allowed to do this shit. Like if you're gonna copy a book or something that's finished, you carry on. But then I suppose they have the whole Game of Thrones thing where they made that up and that just ended shit. So wait there, he's not finished the book yet. We'll just make it up.
If you're going to do a series, you commit until it's finished.
Exactly.
Whether it's getting good reviews or not, just commit and then be done with it. Don't just stop halfway through it.
What with there being a lot of Game of Thrones kind of hype at the moment, I saw on the internet this week a conspiracy theory. It's not my theory, but I read this on the internet, therefore I cannot be sued. I think that's how it works. Conspiracy theory that George R.R. Martin didn't actually write the books. He got them from like his mentor or something like that, and then his mentor died, and George Martin was left with like the manuscripts, and then basically published them, and then can't write anymore because he doesn't know where the story's going, and that's why everything he's been involved in beyond these books that were already published has not been as good. But yeah, there's no truth in that, but I was amused by someone taking the time to be like just to slate George R.R. Martin on the internet for no reason.
Well, that brings us nicely onto the actual reason why people are here is for us to slate and make up rumors for some news. So this is not actually a rumor, this is actually fact. It's an exciting one. It's going to be the running gag for this one. I say running gag, it's going to be a running update. Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
So a few weeks ago, I think it was probably the podcast that didn't get aired, we said that it started filming in Australia. If you want some spoilers, the the Australian government has kind of accidentally leaked most of the script.
I've got to say, I better be the script because either that or Godzilla. It's hard to hide him when you're filming Godzilla scenes. Like.
But yeah, so basically the main thing that came out of this leaked script, it's not a spoiler, however, is the Apple TV series is going to be a direct tie-in, which will mostly feature the human side of it.
Okay.
And the next Godzilla Kong will apparently be 80% Godzilla Kong, 20% humans, which is going to flip it the way it has been in the past films.
Yeah, that the Hollow Earth one, there was way too many people doing people things in that. I didn't.
Yeah, apparently that is the big thing that Apple are going to take the brunt of that, but you're going to have to watch both So you're going to have to go and get an Apple subscription to know what the hell's going on.
Fuck
So, fuck
Just-
it.
Just stick with the monsters, yeah.
I don't think there's too much of an in-depth story on a Godzilla Kong movie that we'll be going to miss out on, but yeah. And then,
bang Godzilla's wife, and now Godzilla wants revenge.
yeah. And then the other little rumor is it's going to be a baby Kong as well in it.
Baby
So,
Kong as well. Maybe
We have
the
baby Kong.
baby Godzilla as well.
Other rumors that I've scoured the internet for, so you don't have to, is The Rock. That's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Comes up in this all the time. Apparently, he is majorly pushing for DC versus Marvel.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah.
So he is very much trying to get them to do a movie, which apparently is just going to be set in an alternative universe. Apparently, he's already got his own little script in his head, where they're going to have all the current MCU and all the current DC, probably except from Ezra Miller, because he's going to be cancelled by the time that comes out.
He apologized this week, so I don't know.
And nobody believes him. So yeah, The Rock's going to be doing that, and then we're also getting a sequel that nobody thought was ever coming of a Ryan Reynolds classic, R.I.P.D.
A Ryan Reynolds flop, one of the only flops.
It was a classic. It was still. It's not a flop. Jeff Bridges, Ryan Reynolds. However, the sequel apparently doesn't star any of them. It's going to be direct to a streaming service.
Okay.
So don't expect them to be in it.
That's
but
a bad thing. Straight off the bat.
Yeah.
But the only other bit of news I've got is Wrexham's out this week.
Oh, is that starting? Is it?
Yeah, so we've got to watch Wrexham because that's Ryan Reynolds. Yes.
I think it is.
Yeah,
I think it's
yes, I think it is.
Yeah.
So that's all the movie gossip that I've got. It's been pretty slow. So, Chris, what deaths and depressing shit have you got for us?
His laptop.
That's working. It's slowly just one wheeling it away.
Right.
But what I found is they're doing a Saw 10, which might. I'm not sure whether it's going to tie into Chris Rock's Spiral,
Yeah.
or if it's going to be part of the main one. And hold on, I need to get my notes because I can't remember.
Well, I think if I remember rightly, I saw that the Saw 6 director was the one that had signed on to do it, or at least people behind it. And I'm like, to my best of my recollection, I think that's comfortably the worst Saw film is Saw 6. So I'm already, and that's including Spiral, which was pretty guff.
It's been confirmed for a Halloween 23 release, which I think most of them have been released on Halloween.
Yeah, they're always Halloween.
But the producers have teased that it will include what the fans have been asking for, whatever that means.
The series to end?
It can't be Jigsaw back from the dead. No one's asking for that again.
Maybe it's officially going to end after this one.
Maybe it's
Sure
Amanda back.
As for some deaths, Anne Hesh has officially died.
I saw that.
Director Wolfgang Peterson has died.
Yeah.
So I don't know him from one thing, and I can't remember what it was now.
So you don't.
Classic.
Everything
Segments get better every week.
I'm apoplectic with rage just now, so
I
It's full of rage.
I don't know if I mentioned in our previous news, but Chris is on Death Watch now because we've been the opposite. We've been talking about people on the podcast and we seem to kind of curse them. So we're taking the opposite approach now. If we mention everyone who does sadly pass away, maybe we'll reverse jinx us and everyone will survive now. So,
And also, when we mention a movie or something like that, it seems to come to life and things actually happen. So,
Yeah.
you know, I can't remember something we were talking about the other day, and it just suddenly like, oh, they are looking at a sequel now. All right.
I've had a tough week with us watching for the main podcast, the episodic weekly podcast, watching Batman Begins and me watching She-Hulk. I've never had people say Bruce as often in a week as they have. It's quite a rare name I've got for the main characters and a lot of things to be called Bruce. It's quite throws me off a little bit.
I know that season when I was going to have our names in it, for life of me, all I could think of was Bruce the Shark. Bruce Wayne never popped in my head. Bruce Banner popped in my head. A fucking shark.
Right. Anything else, Chris?
No, that's about as much as I can remember.
His notes. He's using his phone as a camera at the moment, so he's not got any more notes. So, Bruce, give us the forecast. What we're all going to be watching this week.
A tough week, this one. last week was better with Nope and other ones. But the top 5, as perfectly as predicted again, everything slipped down because Nope went in at number 1. So it was 5 Thor, 4 Minions, 3 League of Super Pets, 2 Bullet Train, and number 1 was Nope. That was the opening weekend this weekend, like we thought. I think that might shift just a teeny bit because this week there's only 2 major releases I can find coming out this week. The better of the 2, bigger of the 2, is going to be Orphan First Kill, which is a sequel, not a prequel, despite being called First Kill, to the film Orphan from as long ago as 2009. I never saw Orphan. It's one of these horror films that you kind of recognize the poster of the kind of creepy-looking girl. But yeah, it came out in 2009. Does not feel like it was that long ago, but it follows on. The character travels to a new place now, pretending to be the daughter of a rich person and all that, and then more horror stuff goes down.
That is the same actress that plays the girl who, despite the fact she's like in her 30s, looks like she's like 12.
Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't actually write her name down because I don't recognise her at all. But yeah, she is playing the same role in films spread 13 years apart, and it's just still meant to be like a little orphan, like Andy's, like Chris said there. But yeah, that'll probably be the highest on the charts. I don't know if it'll go into the top 5 or not. And another one, Fisherman's Friends, One and All, another sequel to a film I also didn't see called Fisherman's Friends, and that was about like a fisherman singing group that kind of became famous.
Yep.
A sort of small town comedy drama that there's a certain percentage of the world's population would absolutely love, but I think the most of us would kind of eye roll and just not really bother wasting our time with it. It's probably,
we had enough of the sea shanty song, that was it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's probably very easy comedy and a bit kind of bittersweet here and there. But another sequel to another film I didn't see. That one's probably not cracking anything, so it's coming out. So they're the big cinema releases. At home, I could not find a single film that's coming out on streaming, like premiering this week, that is of any significance that I could find. So let me know if there's another one. But House of the Dragon, speaking of Game of Thrones earlier on, it does start in the next 7 days. I've got the 22nd of August as when we get it in the UK. I don't know if that's middle of the night, first thing in the morning, but it's a Sky HBO thing, so it's on your Sky Atlantic or whatever channel they show it on. Now, a prequel, and by prequel I mean absolute prequel, it's like thousands of years or something like that before Game of Thrones.
Probably 200.
Is it? All right, okay, only 200, fair enough then. A good few, there'll be very little chance of any characters from Game of Thrones rocking up in it. It's one of these sort of ones. But apparently, tons of dragons, which is something people definitely complained about with Game of Thrones, was a lot of talk about dragons.
Let's like dragons now, right? You know how we talk about waves, it's like we're going through the superhero things, we had a little bit of pirates. Everything's got a dragon in it again.
Yeah,
dragons are back.
That's before Dungeons and Dragons, the film comes out as well.
We've got Dungeons and Dragons. We've got this. There was something else recently with a dragon, and it's like Jesus hell.
I think we started it with Rain of Fire.
Oh yeah, it was Rain of Fire. The podcast rekindled. Dragons.
We need some sort of royalty share for getting movies kick-started again.
Yeah,
we should do.
We told Hollywood back in the middle of the pandemic.
Actually works.
Yeah, it was us and Tom Cruise that were single-handedly saving Hollywood this whole time. And that's it for what's coming up this week. And it's the same films coming out in the future. Like Beast is the next one. I saw a trailer for that this week, and after seeing Idris Elba versus a lion, I'm probably less interested in seeing it now that I've actually seen a bit of the trailer. But yeah, that's the next thing coming out. But that'll probably be next week. I'll talk about that. But streaming as well, TV shows coming up soon. So listen out next week for more. But yeah, Orphan First Kill will be the biggest film of the week. But just go see Nope instead, I would recommend.
There you go. So hopefully something's tickled your fancy there. Something's like thingy. I've gave you the Day Shift, which is like the best film I've ever seen. Bruce is singing Nope. And we're hoping that Chris's laptop's fully updated so we can do the main podcast. So it's all been good. And if you've been watching this on YouTube, it's absolutely hilarious. If you've been listening to us on Spotify, watch the video because it's comedy gold. How we got through this podcast without bursting out laughing, I do not know. So however, join us on our main podcast because it is the Wheel of Random's pick, which picked Batman Begins, the Christopher Nolan Batman. So see if I slag off Christopher Nolan again in that podcast and see if these two fan wank over Christopher Nolan. So
always called Christopher Nolan. I don't know where the D comes from.
It's because I don't like him. I don't say his name right.
Don't learn his name.
Exactly. So yeah, join us next week for more news and more gossip, and join us over on our main podcast for Batman Begins.